Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hey, okay. Here we go. And just checking if everything is working well. Yeah, it seems good. Seems good. Seems good. Yeah, Twitch is up. Okay, guys. Here we are. Here we are. Let me just take a sip of water. I'm very thirsty. And then we can decide how we're approaching this. Okay, so okay, as per the title. Okay, let me just figure out where the hell my stuff is. As per the title, I will do UI stuff today. So I started with UI Toolkit a little bit yesterday. The 30 or so minutes that I had after stream, before I had to start running around, and I thought I was going to get back to it, and I never did. Go figure. So I decided yesterday evening that screw it. I'm just gonna watch a tutorial with you guys on UI Toolkit. During the stream, and we'll learn together, right? So what I was doing is I actually went into the main menu. Jeez, like. Okay, so in the main menu, I started with the UI builder. Now, navigating this thing is pretty straightforward, right? This is not that special. Building these buttons and things like that, no problem, really. And understanding the basics of the USS, like the style sheets and the XML, that's not a problem. Where I don't really know what I'm doing yet is connecting this button into my game now. But I figured that I'll start with the main menu, right? With the main menu scene, this guy over here. Just because it's a very simple scene, right? There's not a lot happening here, so hopefully that means that I can get some of the basics going. Give myself some footing, something to stand on. Then I can build upon this for the other side of the game, the actual game side of the game, right? So I like to make this big while I'm doing it, but I think I'm pretty much, like, I don't really need more than this, right? I'm not here to make pretty UI necessarily. I just want to kind of make functional UI so that I can continue developing new systems and features for the game, right? Now, obviously, eventually, it would be kind of cool if I can make it nice, but it's not. It's not necessary. Okay. This really looks like CSS. Anyway. Okay, so let's go for it. So I have this video somewhere I started watching. It's a super short video, right? 5 minutes, I think. I think we can handle it. So I will just
to do is open the UI editor, which is called UI Builder. UI Toolkit provides a nice separation of concerns into 3 parts. The first part is a layout, which we save as UXML files. Let's call this one CubeGame UI. We can now arrange our basic layout for a simple HUD. Although HUD is a pretty big name here for something pretty simple. We need one container for the whole screen and one for our actual buttons at the bottom. We are setting all those properties in the inspector, but they are all saved into the UXML file which we created before. Notice how we are not touching our actual game scene at all. The UI work is detached entirely from our game logic, and we could reuse this UI in any game we would like to. For our game, we need 3 buttons. And this brings us to the second component of UI Toolkit, which is styling. Now, obviously, we could set all the properties we want for each button in the inspector, but one rule in programming is don't repeat yourself. UI Toolkit allows us to isolate and reuse our styling with style sheets, which are saved as USS files. What this allows us to do is to create a class for our button, but set the properties on the class and not a particular button.
Okay, so I think I got there, but now that I see what he's doing... okay, I see what I did. I made a style sheet called button. That's not necessarily how I wanted to do that. Huh. Yeah, this should have been like the main menu style sheet or something like that. I wonder how I can... Okay, that's a selector. Damn it, man. I don't even know where I saved this thing. Where the hell did I save that? So it's probably an asset somewhere, right? I hope. Let's see if it came... Okay, so it went to... Okay. Now, what happens if I rename it over here? And it is just called main menu style sheet. Hopefully it can figure it out. Okay. That's not so bad. It seems like that's okay. Okay. So yeah, so I think I just started typing something there, but yeah, I have a button. I didn't add it to the... So this is, if I understand this correctly, a selector, and this is a style sheet, right? And then I can add new selectors. Okay, and then I can have hover, focus, other kind of things here. Okay. Let's return to the video.
Then all that's left to do is to add the class to the other buttons, and they all look the same. Finally, let's give them an appropriate text, and we are done with our layout. So far, our game and our UI are entirely isolated and don't know about each other. What we now need is one small piece to actually connect them. This is a component called UI document.
Okay, so... we can probably free up some space here and there. It's quite a clunky thing, this UI builder. Okay, so we have to add a UI document. I don't even see that. Oh no, UI toolkit, UI document, okay. So we could call this the main menu UI. Right? And that is a type UI document. I wonder. Alright, let's just continue the video. Maybe I'm...
In here, we just choose our layout file and our UI is visible. The third and final component of UI Toolkit is functionality.
And that's straightforward. Yeah, so I can just do this and select that. Okay, so I wonder now. Okay, so if I go to game, yeah, okay, so I see that now. So I can technically switch off the canvas now, right? Okay, so that's now the buttons and stuff from the UI Toolkit. So, I mean, it looks terrible, but I kind of expected that. Now, if I do that... okay, so I can toggle that. Yeah. Okay, my mic is a bit weird. Okay, yeah, so that's cool. So the reason that's now nice is because I was wondering... I can still use the same kind of idea that I had for the organization that I used in the game, right? So what I did there was I would obviously have a bunch of game objects, and I can simply just then in script show and hide them like that, right? Which makes it quite interesting. And then I just need the buttons to work. So all the showing and hiding of UI I could pretty much do the same way. I believe it might be beneficial to actually have it not just pop up, but animate into the game or something like that. But yeah, at least this works. So now I should be able to take this label, for instance, that I might think is actually too small. Alright, and I could just check out, I don't know, the font. Make it way bigger. And if I go to the game, so I can now save this, go to the game. Is that really the size? So if I make this a full HD, okay, so now we have another issue here. Okay, so it's not really scaling with my screen. I wonder how you get that to work. Right, I guess it will fill my screen. The problem is just like specifically the name, which currently the size is determined by a text size. That might be bad, right? Yeah, so maybe it's should be a percentage. I don't know. So that's 100% of what though? The label height? I actually don't know. So if we go to the size and we tell it, you know, the label height is, let's say 25%, or let's make it 20%. Can we make this thing just full that space? It's like, could we make the size auto, basically? and just have it full. I mean, that seems like a reasonable thing to expect. Oh, that's pretty funny. Right? I feel like that's a reasonable expectation. Maybe it's here. Okay, but if I save this now, yeah, it's quite small. As expected. This element isn't small, but I can't make... Is it this? Flex. Okay, yeah, I know what that is. Okay, so this is to... Let me just check here. Okay, but my main problem really is just this. Like, how do you... How do you change this? How do you make the text... Like, I wanted that size. Right? On the screen. Okay, my screen is... This is the size. If I take it... If I make it match game view... Yeah, no. Like, I want to use this as my default. I don't know, maybe panel settings can help us. Is there something in here? What is text settings? Nobody knows. Huh. Yeah, I actually don't have any idea what that means. Okay. Well, okay, let's save. Let's watch the rest of the video. Let's get it connected. No, so this is the kind of thing that you now go and Google, right? Because it's not completely obvious.
And this is done in C# scripts, just as all of our other coding. So let's create one here and call it UI. Jump into the script.
Okay, let's see. Where do I want this script to be? So I'm still gonna... So I have my UI and Toolkit stuff. Inside of prefabs, apparently, that's... I did not want that inside prefabs. Oh no. What? Oh, okay. No, I did have UI prefabs. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. So I have UI Toolkit. I have UI. Okay, UI Toolkit. Okay, so that's not my folder. This was created for me. I see. Okay. I had the UI folder, but now in scripts, I also have a UI folder. So let's just create a new folder here. And let's just call it the UI Toolkit. Just so I know. And then we can create a new monobehavior script and call it main menu. Okay, so I can already see that this could become a problem, because I obviously have some of this stuff like I'm going to want to reuse some of these classes, right? It's pretty much what I thought. I already have a main menu. Okay. So let's go to UI Toolkit. Let's get rid of this. Look, obviously the functionality is going to change. Okay, so where we can, what I'm going to do then is I will use the old scripts. So we can take this one and good old comment everything out. And now, okay, let's see. So this is going to have to work side by side a little bit because I have to follow along what the code that this guy is doing. So let's just do this. Can even do a bit of this and a bit of that. Okay, let's see what does he do.
We want to use the UI elements namespace in order to interact with our UI Toolkit components.
Okay, I already have a bunch of stuff over here, but anyway, using Unity. What? Unity Engine. UI elements, right? Okay.
We then need access to a cube controller, which is surprisingly allowing us to control the cube. Now in onEnable, we need a reference to the root element of our UI, because from it we have access to...
Okay, so I'm assuming the cube is not something I need for this one, right? I might need something else, but not that. But we need private void onEnable. I've never used this one before. Okay, so we need a visual element root, apparently. Get component UI document dot root visual element. Okay, so I'm assuming all this does. So this script is going to be attached to this, right? I'm going to add the component there, so it's just going to get this, and then inside here it can get the root element, which I assume is from this file or something like that, right? Like, this is code. We can open this inline style. Yeah, we can preview that over here. Okay, that's a mess. I'm assuming we are so I'm not entirely sure, but what I'm assuming is we getting access to this, and then obviously we have buttons with names, and we can access these button names. Yeah. Now that's very web devy. Anyway, let's continue. So let's see. So okay, we got
all
that.
The other elements. That way we can now get references to our 3 buttons, but that only works if we gave them the appropriate names. And finally,
okay, so it's literally just a button. So this would be root, and let's see. So root, what the hell? Root dot q. We're looking for a button. Okay, and this is then where I pass in the name that I gave it. Okay, so this is a variable button, or a reference to a button. I call it start. So it might be better if I called it start button, for instance. Alright, and then I have then I need to know what I named it. inside of here. Okay, so it's not even a start button, it's a play button, right? But I named it play. Okay, so the text is play and the button is just, the name is just play. So what if we did play button, for instance, instead? And this is the settings, just so it's maybe more clear. And this is the exit button. Now he, like, someone just comes here and he changes the names of stuff. I don't know how. Okay, so that just changes that text. Yeah. Or maybe he changed it here. Maybe you can change it right here. Yeah, okay, you can. So we have button holder, play, settings button, exit button. Okay. So that means we want a play button, for instance. Play button. And what we're going to look for is the string play button. Right, so this thing is not happy. Ambiguous. Okay, so maybe that's because I have this namespace as well. Yeah, so we only need the UI elements namespace. Okay, but this is then basically just repeated for each button. So we have a play button, we have a settings button, we have a exit button, and we called them the settings button and exit button. Okay, so we have references to all our buttons. Now I'm sure we're just going to add listeners, right? Because we're just going to look for an event. That's at least how I believe this is going to work. Let's see. Surprise me.
Let's now do what we are actually here for. Give the buttons some functionality.
Oh, okay. I see he did do that. Okay. So is this the only way you can do this? So if I now do play button dot, I can just do on click, or I can do click it there. Oh, that's on click's the old one. Okay. Okay, so clicked. Okay, so we do clicked. And then I just do plus equals. Yeah, so that's just like the events. Play button clicked. I see he does. Okay. So you can also do. Yeah, so we can also do something like settings button dot click dot clicked plus equal, and I assume this is. Let me do one of these arrow things, which I've seen this before, but then we can just access. Okay, that's pretty cool. So now I could just. If I had something like, who knows, a loader, I could just do something like a loader dot load something. How did I do this without having a reference to the loader? Oh, the loader is a static class, I guess. So then I could just do loader.scene. Okay. We could do this. Okay, so we don't need to do it like this. So I'm gonna do it a couple of ways, right? So first of all, this one doesn't actually do anything. So I wonder, could we just say that it does? I believe this is valid, right? If you just do. So on click add listener, I guess it's the old way of doing it. So I could just do here a debug.log and call it, and just say settings clicked. Okay, so it's not happy with that. Oh wait, I need to have that over there. Ah, what the hell am I doing? That is not where that goes. Yeah, so we could just do something like that. So now I kind of defined a function with no name function, but when it's clicked, it'll print that. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is obviously doing it like this. And then I'm just going to put all the ways that I can do this. And then exit button.clicked. We can do the loader one. So we'll do plus equals. So we'll just do that. This little arrow thing. And all we want to do is application.quit. Right? And that's also valid. So we can either do this where we have a function that runs. We can define one of these little, I don't know, lambda functions. Is that what they're called? I don't even know. Straight inside little brackets here. Or I could have a reference to a static type, or maybe even something like he did, where I have the reference over there, and I can run methods in that. This is actually very straightforward so far. So now, yeah, when play button clicked, I can have, I can do the same things I would do previously. So it's loader.load. And what I wanted to do was loader dot scene dot game scene, right? Yeah. So now I define a function. It's going to run the function there. You don't have to do it this way. We can also do it this way, or we could do it this way. I like all of that stuff. Yeah, and I think. Apparently I changed the time scale over here. I'm not quite sure why. This would just be on awake. What is on enable? It seems very similar to on awake. Like awake. Awake is called when the script instance is being loaded. On it, this function is called when the object becomes enabled and active. Huh, interesting. Okay, but on we can do this still if we need to. I don't remember why I did that in the first place. But okay, this is our new main menu script. Let's continue the video.
For that, we can access the clicked event on the buttons and hook up the appropriate function from the cube controller. Let's go back to Unity, attach the script, get an instance of the cube controller, and our UI is fully functional. Notice again how our work on the UI and the game were entirely separated, and notice how most of the UI work was done without touching any code. Particularly on large projects, this workflow can help a lot in keeping the project clean and have a smooth cooperation with your designers. This was UI Toolkit in 5 minutes. Thank you for watching and see you next time.
This is your brain when you're...
That was incredible. Wow. I feel so empowered. That was actually quite straightforward. So the main things I needed to understand was, well, I needed to get the root component, or I need to access the root visual element, and then from there, I was able to get the buttons. I suppose I could get a bunch of stuff from there. Yeah, so it's visual element Q. So so this is any. Yeah, we just need the string name or the class name, it seems like. Default's null. That's amazing. Okay, so I can get buttons, which is the most important thing. I also want to obviously change things inside the UI. But with this, I should have a working main menu. So let's save that again. Okay, we save that again, and I just have to go into my inspector. Okay, let's just let this thing compile. Let's just make sure everything's saved over here. So in here, I just add component, main menu UI. We don't need anything else because the loader and all that stuff would be static elements. So in the game, so what it looks like, unfortunately it looks shit, but it's okay. So if I play the game from here, I should already be able to click these buttons and it works. Now obviously we can come and fix this later. Okay, but the hovering, it just kind of does that automatically, it seems. Amazing. If I click play, it should load the game. Yeah, it did. Okay, obviously, there was a bunch of errors and stuff, but it did load the game. It was a bit laggy, I don't know why. That might be unrelated, right? That's not necessarily the UI's problem. Okay, and the game works. So the next thing would be to get the UI to show something connected to the game data, right? Great stuff. So this, like this, right? So this is obviously data that is connected to my characters, okay? Which I want to see, but now we need to figure out how to display data on the UI. Okay. But basically, we did it in terms of the main menu scene. I'm happy. So let's go to our second scene, and let's see if we can get this going there as well. So we'll go to our game scene. So we're done in that scene. Fantastic. Now we have to fix this mess. Oh. Okay, we'll just clear this a little bit. Okay, so we go to UI. And which would be the first? I think... So, okay, so we go to Canvas and we can see, so I have a select menu, game playing UI, game over UI. I think I'm going to go for game playing UI next. Right? That makes sense. So that's the stuff like your health and stuff like that. So I have data that I need to display. So we can create a new not a new UI document, although we should do that as well. Okay, so how do I do this now? Okay, file new, and then we can do save as, and we can do UI, main menu, UMXL. So this could be game playing UI. Okay. So this is now my game playing UI. So I can click on that. I can make this 1920 by 1080 if I wanted. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to figure out how to do the scaling and stuff like that. But now I can create a new USS. Not there, so I do this in UI. I could just say game playing style. Yeah, it's called the game playing style. Okay, great. So we got those two things going. Okay, so the first thing we need over here is just some visual element. Okay, now we need to... So that's just the big one, and now inside that I guess I need some other things going. Okay. Okay, so now this visual element, I guess... So this would be all my bars and stuff at the top, maybe. I don't know. So let's see if we can change the sizing. Okay. So size... Okay, let's say... Okay, what does this do? Okay. So that means it's going to grow to... What did I just change? Okay, so I can change the actual size. Okay, 0. Okay, so that's like 0.2, so that would mean it'll only grow up to 20% of the screen. I'm not too sure. Okay, so then the actual height doesn't actually matter, I guess. I don't know. Okay, but let's just say that is this visual element will be my I don't know what it will be, to be honest. What did I just do? Okay. Inside of this thing, we need a few things. Like a progress bar. Okay, so that looks terrible. Okay, but some kind of a progress bar. Now, if we look at our game, let's try this. So I only want to see. I'll just switch off everything. I'll switch on game playing UI. So if I click here, I can just get a reference of what I want. So on a health, so I want basically 3 bars, right? Health, level, and mana or spell juice, right? So we have this guy. I wonder if There's probably a good way to do this, but I'm gonna do it my way. I think. So let's see. So what I think I want is, okay, so I want a progress bar, but I also want a text field to give it a name. Right, and then inside the progress bar, it would be kind of cool if I could have a text field like on top of the progress bar, basically. So we want one there, we want one, okay, so we want that and that. So let's make this thing, okay, so this could be our, just some kind of a bar, visual element. Is that, what did I just change? The name. This is interesting. I can have data sources. This is probably what I want to connect, right? Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's not... Okay, but anyway, we have a text field. I don't know what this is doing here. Text field full of text. Okay, so let's say our text field says something like health. All right, and then our progress bar is over there. Now, okay, so the bar visual element. Okay, let's say we don't want it to flex, really. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Let's go to our width, and let's make it way smaller. So let's say we want this thing like... So this would be a percentage of the screen, right? So if this is like 10% of the screen, or 15% of the screen, it'll look something like that. And the height should also be like, I don't know, 10. Not even. Right, like... Okay, so it is growing. Okay, so if I make this 0, that means it won't be growing. Then I change the height based on what I want it to be, right? So let's make it 10. Okay, so let's assume, so this is now our 2 bars. We have our bar, we have our text field with a label. Oh, I see. This is like taking a input. I want just a label like that, and I'll call this health, for instance. Right? Just as an example, and then we have this progress bar. Okay. I think I'm getting it, sort of. Now, this progress bar looks terrible. Okay, so here's the value for the progress bar. Okay. And it can have a title on top of it. Right? Okay. I'm getting there. So let's do a progress bar UI toolkit. Right, let's let's just see what we can see, right? So Okay. Yeah, so there's now a couple of things that's kind of... So we have this data source. I'm not sure how that works. But what I believe... Okay, so what I believe is we could do two things. If I remember this correctly, so I've watched, like I said, some videos on this. So one of the ways I think you can interact with the elements is by connecting them to some data source directly. And what's nice about that is it'll then automatically update if the data in that data source changes. Right, which is pretty cool. So that's one way you could do it. It'll just always be synced with the data source. Okay. The other way you could do this, if I'm not mistaken, is you can just edit the values or the attributes basically with a function, right? So I could literally just take this progress bar and access it via code and then just change these values, right? Because they are just, it's an attribute. Right? And we can change all of these things to whatever we want. So we could do that as well. Now, could I make this 150 over 200, for instance? Yes, I can. Okay, but now obviously there's just a lot of stuff. So we can, so we have a progress bar with a visual element, and then that has a visual element, another visual element with a label. We might want to drill down all the way to this label if we want to change the style of this label. So here we go. Right, so progress bar title, for instance. Yeah, so how do I actually change this? How do I... Like, I can obviously come here, I guess. Yeah, I can change the color, font size, etc. Okay, but we can do something like that. Okay, so I'm not here to make it look pretty, right? It'd be nice if I could, but that's not necessarily what I'm up to. Okay, so if I take this bar and I duplicate it now, it'll just go beneath. I wonder how I want to arrange these bars, to be honest. So we might want... Okay, so this is health and level, right? If I go with the same thing I kind of did here. Health and level. Then we could have mana to the side, or just health and stamina and then level. Or health and stamina could be on this side, level. Maybe that goes over there. We could also put stuff at the bottom, I guess. Yeah, we could do that. Maybe we put our level at the bottom. Right, because currently our gameplay, there's like nothing happening over here. We have some real estate there. Yeah, so we could do that. So we could make... Yeah, so what we can do, I think if I change... Yeah, so I could do that if I wanted, for the big visual element, but I don't think that's the way I should go about it. So what I should do instead is just have another visual element inside of that one. I would say. Right, like that. So we have 2. And then maybe these bars go inside here. And then we could just call this the top UI. So that will be everything on the top. Right, and then we can also have, let's say, just another one, which is the bottom UI, which is there. Okay, top and bottom. Okay, and then we can obviously do things with this. So we don't have to have it grow, but you know, if we wanted to, we could, I guess. Let's see. I don't know what initial means. Okay, but okay. So within this thing, it's centered. So this thing arranges things vertically. So a top and a bottom. Okay, that's fine. Okay, then in the bottom, we want to kind of justify the content to the bottom. And if I now add, let's say, another bar, but I put it in the bottom UI, it'll sit over there. So then I could do bottom UI. I could tell it to justify everything or align it centered. Okay, interesting. It's not quite what I thought that would do. Content align. Interesting. That does nothing. Align items. Justify content. Right. So that's okay. That's this. And then align self. Oh, okay. Okay. So I could do that to put the stuff at the bottom, for instance. Okay. Interesting. Now, okay. This health bar looks shit. I don't know why. Like, why are you allowed to go out? If I make you grow to the length. Okay, if I make you flex differently. Interesting. Okay, so what if we did that and we make it self-align to the bottom? I don't know if this does anything to this thing. Very interesting. Yeah, like if I make this progress bar grow, actually. But not like that. Huh. So the progress bar itself, okay, it's growing lengthwise. Yeah, this is complicated. I have no idea. Do I take you and I make you align things? Okay, no, that's not right. Okay, that just changes the self-alignment of this thing. Okay, so if I make this 50%, now it's the whole screen width. Okay, this height doesn't mean anything now because I'm making it grow. If I make this 0 again, it's just going to sit at the bottom. Now, it's kind of annoying is the fact that the stuff doesn't actually fit. Yeah, but I could do something like that for level progress if I really wanted. Yeah. Look, I'm probably not doing this correctly. Let's be honest. But I'm trying. So, okay, so if we align content or we justify Okay, this thing is growing. I don't want that anymore. Zero. Right, so we could do something like that. Now what we can do is we can add, you know, a little bit of a padding here. Like, I don't know, 15 pixels or something. So it's not right at the bottom of the... Yeah, something like that. And could we make this label? Could we make these things overlap with one another? It seems like we can somewhat. Okay, if I put the label inside of the progress bar. Okay, interesting. So now, no. Wait. Is it not inside of the progress bar? I'm confused. Now it is. Yes. Okay, but we still have this thing. So if we put the label in there, which we can't do. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I mean, I could build this myself if I really wanted. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff about this that I don't understand yet, so yeah, this is gonna be a bit shitty. Okay, obviously we can make all this UI look much better if we wanted, but let's see if we can make it functional first, right? Okay, so we have a bar called health, and we have a bar called something else. So let's just go. Let's make this one. Okay, that one can stay health, and then this one would be. Let's just call it spell juice. Right, spell juice. And you know we can add a selector here. Let's call it the bar label, right? And we can tack it on that thing and on that thing, because they are bar labels, right? I don't know how we can make the bar. Whatever, it's fine. Like I am not a pro at this. This is gonna be shit for a while, so let's just deal with that. Okay, but now I can change the font for the bar label if I wanted. I could change the size. Yeah. Right, so I can make this like 25 if I wanted. Now we should be careful. I don't know why. Okay. So why is it doing this shitty overlap thing? That might be something to do with the growth. If I make the height auto, yeah, that does help. Okay, yeah, that's better. Let's keep it like that. Okay, but anyway, so this obviously doesn't look great, so let's see if we can make it look a bit better. What else do we have? We can do... No. Oh, these are all the fonts for... Ah. Okay, we'll just stick with that one, and then we can change the size and color. Okay, so we have some health and some spell juice. I wonder if we can make this, okay. Make this a percentage. It would be a percentage of what? Like if I make it just 100%, okay. Now it's 100% of what? Of the label size. So let's see if I make the label height larger. It doesn't actually change anything. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't understand. What did we just do? Right, what does auto or 100% mean in terms of size? And with what would that scale? Right, because I'm assuming it will scale somehow. Maybe it's this size? So if I make this size more? Nope. It's not that size. Very interesting. Yeah. Alright, this is where we can just hide and show things as well. Oh, interesting. Okay. Does this help? Okay, that's just a position. Is it maybe this? Okay, so scaling it does. Okay, but I don't think that is entirely. Yeah, no, that just makes the actual container bigger. This is just translating it to just move it around, right? Yeah. Interesting. I don't know how this works. Okay, so let's just go with pixel size and let's just give it a nice 25 font size. I will stick with that. Right. Health, spell juice. Right, that's okay. It's not too bad. It's out of the way a little bit. I don't know. Okay, let's see if we can fix anything here. So if I have this font change. Okay, so that is in fact that font over there. If I make this bold. Okay, interesting. So what happens if I do progress bar? Yeah, so what if I do progress bar value, let's say. Right, can I take this and drag it on top of there? And then here change the font. Does it know how to do that? It does. Okay, cool. So I can do something like this. Interesting. Okay. So it kind of knew. Why is it only changing the bottom one now? Isn't this one also connected in some way? I don't understand this. Are they connected differently? It's very interesting. Okay, so that does change. The text size is changing, but nothing else. That is interesting. So if I make this one a percentage, 100, 120, something like that. I make it bold. Only that one goes bold. This one doesn't. Did I apply an override? That might be possible. Yeah, seems like I did. Okay, so if I do that, okay, now they change together. I mean, okay. So now if I want to go in here and I want to go to these visual elements and I want to change them, how do I do that? So should I add a new... So I can. So I could do a health bar. I'm just going to try something here. So if I take this and I put it on. Okay, I could do something like this. Okay. I put that on there because I can't change anything here, right? No. Oh, that's text. Anything else I can change? The background? Yeah, no, I can't. Border animations. It seems like everything is just basically grayed out here. Right, but if I click on a health bar, open up styles. Okay, text. So if I change this tint to green, right? That doesn't do anything. Okay, so how do I change the color? Oh no, that's the label, okay. So what exactly am I changing here? What am I affecting? So this thing, did it add, if I look at the style sheet, so it's not there. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it really cares. Okay, so I have progress bar value over here. So I changed the text color, which did something, right? If I change the background color, does that change anything? No. Okay, that's interesting. So this is all very strange and weird to me, but anyway. We could now, for instance, change the bar label. Well, we could do this, and then we can make this label say level. Something like that. We could actually have another text field, I guess. Actually show the level. Alright, or we just change the level plus. So So we'll do something like, yeah, we can change the text, I guess, to level, 5. There should be like character level. No, that's like level 5. And you know what? Let's align this to center. I think this specific one. Align items. No, align self to middle. Character level 5. We get a nice progress bar for experience. Yeah, that's okay. We'll work with that for now. I'm not saying this is perfect, but it's something. Okay, now, can we get access to all these elements? That's the question. Okay, let me just save a few things here. Maybe we need to find another YouTube video to watch. Okay, here's a 20-minute video.
User interfaces.
Game dev guide. Creating a custom component, drawing a radial progress bar. Yeah, so we want something nice. Skip that.
One of the other new additions to UI Toolkit in 2023 is how we can bind data structures to our UI elements and have them update themselves relative to that data. To demonstrate this, let's build out a little speedometer for our car as it drives around our circuit and have the element update relative to the rigid body's velocity. We're actually going to take advantage of some of the vector drawing tools here too. So let's create a new C# class, which I'll name speedometer. We'll mark this as a partial class that extends from visual element and add the UXML element attribute, and then create a UXML file for it in our builder as well. We'll also create a new UI document for it in our game view here. In the constructor of our C# speedometer class, let's add a method that subscribes to the generate visual content event.
Okay. This might be a little bit too complicated, I don't know. Let me just see. So there's some painter that he uses to make the fall happen and etc. etc. Like, to me, okay, binding data to UI. This is actually what I want to know. Okay, so we have a data source type, and then we just select it, I guess, and then we can have a float connected to it. I see. Yeah, because there's this progress attribute. Okay, so if I, for instance, click on my progress bar, can have type, select type, and then we can do, oh, wow. What are all these? Whoa. I guess this is stuff that I kind of have in my... I don't even know. I don't know where all this is coming from. So what if I search for something like, I don't know, health? Okay. I see. So we can in fact get a script. Interesting. So, but if I click on this, right, so now my health bar UI is there, and then I can do So health bar length. So that's my data source. Interesting. Now, I think what I then do, so that would be my high value, right? So if I add a binding, default. Oh, wait a minute. This I can bind to. So I could do health bar UI, for instance, again, if I wanted. And then I can do, this is actually my health bar length. Bind to target, two-way, to source. Okay, that's add binding. So now this value is driven by health bar length. Fantastic. Okay, now the only thing, I don't know what this does over here, like this. What did I just bind on this side? Right, it doesn't. I'm not entirely sure what this does. Unset all. Unset. Okay, I don't know what this binding is for. No, man, that's not what I wanted to do. Damn it, man. Damn it, man. Okay, title. Okay, so I could set all of these values to a script that I can edit. Yeah, like this. Edit binding. So I can bind it to a script. Update trigger on source change. Every update when dirty. What does that mean? Okay, we don't want to. Let's not mess with advanced settings. Okay, I really like that. So we can make this like max health or something like that. Very good. Okay, let's unset that one. Okay, so all of these, okay, I like all of this. All of this is amazing. I think I'm editor binding path. Oh, this is so interesting. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what this binding does really. Data source. Like if I bind a scriptable object to this thing, I'm not sure that does anything. Right. So if I look for like my what did I call this? Like night stats. So let's say I bind it to that. Then I have obviously a bunch of stuff, but like if I take character name, for instance, as my data source, what am I actually changing here? Okay, the path to the value in the data source used by this binding. To see resolved binding, could you tell me more? Because I can just bind the attributes directly. So why would I bind this? Yeah, because if I add a binding here, it's not like I need to... Yeah, like it's not binding this one, so it's not like these need to be the same thing. I can bind all of this to different things. Okay, let's see. The label has the same thing. What are these? What does this mean? Let's see if we can figure this out. Bindings. So what are bindings? Data binding. Okay, they are. Binds the properties of a C-sharp object to the properties of UI control. Is it an element? Okay, yeah, this is... No, I'm not really bothered by the structure. Yeah, no, data binding is the thing I'm really wanting to understand, yeah. Do we have runtime? Okay, create a runtime binding. Okay, so we got all this. Okay, this is... Okay, this is all being done in code. Could we do... Oh, wait. Oh, no. Go back. Yeah, I want to understand the UI, actually. I like the actual builder. This is not helpful at all. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to understand what this binding is, right? Because I can change attributes, and I understand this one completely, right? This makes 100% sense to me. Like, if I have my binding here, I can totally understand how this literally just changes the value of that property, right? Which is amazing. This one I don't understand, right? Right, if I have a data source, collection of information by default, a binding will inherit the existing data source from the hierarchy. You can instead define another object here as a data source, or define the type of property it may be if the source is not yet available. Yeah, like, I don't know if this might be a more high-level thing where I might have all of the attributes and things available for this one. Maybe it is something like that. Yeah, because if I select, like if I have health bar UI, which is, and then I have a data source path 3 found, which, I mean, none of this makes any sense to me. Like health bar length, now that is a float. It's a value health bar length. What is that data now connected to? What is it going to affect? I don't understand this. Maybe that video will tell me. Let's actually see. Because he does talk about
speed
this.
Sync the data with that of our vehicle controller so that it represents our current speed. I've got this value in my vehicle controller that outputs a speed rating, so wouldn't it be kind of cool if we could sync the progress value to this speed value automatically? In our speedometer script, all we need to do is make sure that we have the create property attribute assigned to any value that we want to be exposed to a data source, and we're good to go. In the UI builder, we can simply click on the little dots here and choose add binding. Then we can just use the little pop-up here to tell Unity that this element is linked to a specific property on a class. So I'll just set my vehicle class here and choose the current speed value as its source path. Notice how you can also change the kind of binding that you want to create. In our instance, we're using the data to set the element value, but in the instance of something like a text field or a button or something, you can actually use the element to set a value on the data instead, or have it work in both directions.
We need to make a decision. What does the data say? I'm not...
Why not use Monday.com's dashboards? It shows...
I need to
This
use
little
my
icon
other
means that our
account.
binding is set and ready to have a data source assigned, which we'll need to do in code. So let's create a simple controller for our speedometer bar, get a reference to it, and we can then assign our vehicle controller as the data source.
Wait, do we need to do this? Okay, so we got the speedometer, game object UI document root, okay, then root.speedometer, q.speedometer, so that's just the type, dot data source equals vehicle. Interesting. Okay, I didn't think that was
So we set
necessary.
this up in the inspector, and then hit play. We now have a UI element dynamically driven by a property on a target data source, our vehicle controller. For me, this was the one thing that made UI Toolkit an absolute game changer and something I wanted to start taking seriously. The ability to tell the system what kind of data it should track and how, directly or indirectly, and then just be able to bind an object to it at runtime as a source of that data is extremely powerful. There's a ton of potential here for different combinations of assets being driven by generic types of data, and that type of flexibility is extremely exciting to me. And that's about it for today's video. Hopefully I've covered enough of the key points of UI Toolkit here to give you more of an overview of how
Hey. Okay, we can watch this in here if we wanted
user interfaces are a significant part
instead,
of
because this one at least will not have so many ads, right? Okay, just building it, functionality. Okay, let me, like, I have an idea of what to do. I might not do this correct, but let's just YOLO it a bit, right? So, okay, so these bindings definitely, I don't think I need these. Unset all of those stuff, right? Okay. So now let's, oh damn, what did I just do? Oh, the title. Okay, let's just say 50 out of 100. And let's just do this, right, just so it says something. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this. Okay, save this. And Yeah, let's go into our scene and let's create a thing here. Call it, well, we can just slap the UI document here and then we can call this game playing UI. Right, and then right here we can have our game playing stuff. Okay, so now if I go to game, I will see that and it looks terrible. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, it looks absolutely horrendous. Now this is a scaling problem as well. Right, so we might want to go change the scaling with the... so how to scale UI Toolkit with screen size. Like I'm missing something very fundamental here. Okay, in panel settings, set the scale mode to scale with screen size. Define a reference resolution. Okay, resolution. So if we go here, panel settings. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Scale with screen size. This should be 1920 by 1080. There we go. Okay, this would be width or height. Okay. Okay, so that is exactly what I was missing. Okay, so it looks shit. It doesn't have color or anything nice like that. What we can do is at least change the color for this to be white, I guess. We could just go here. Text color. Where's text? Text color. Just white text instead. Right, because it's easier to read in the game, right? Health and spell juice, yeah. White is better. White is the way to go. What happened to my... Okay, so some things got broken. What? I am confused. Why is this thing on that side now? This shouldn't be happening. Like if I look at that, we have health and spell juice there, character level over there. If I click on game view, okay, they're all back where they belong. Okay, cool. So let's see if we can connect these. So my idea of connecting these would be to maybe just add a component here that tracks any of these values. So we could do okay, do we have a script called a game playing UI? So let's say enemy health bar. So I'm gonna try and make all of this stuff not really, right? So let's go here, we create a new script and let's just call it game playing UI. Okay, so there we have a script now. And here's my idea. Okay, let's just let it do its thing. Okay, so the idea is game playing UI will be connected to this. We can open it up, and yeah, we'll just okay, close that. Okay, so we'll do this at least. So yeah, let's do. I don't know if on enable is required, But we can do on enable, and we can just get a visual element root on enable. Yeah, this is just required, I believe. Okay, do we need to connect the data sources like that? Maybe. Actually, I don't know. So let's just say we have a from public. Now I'm going to try a couple of things here. So let's say we have public a float health, public. Let's call this public health, and then we have a private float, private health. Right. I'm just testing stuff here. So let's say we have this going, and it can compile. Still have a little bit of coffee. Okay. So now if I go to my UI builder and I look at my health bar. Right, so my health bar specifically. What the hell? What is... Okay, it's just weird. Okay, we look at the health bar. No, not like that. This progress bar inside my health bar. And let's say I want to bind this. And I want to select a type. And it's going to be game playing UI. Okay, path is missing. So we want, okay, public health. Okay, cool. To target, add binding. Okay. So we'll try something. Just to, like, I'm just fooling around. So public health is the one we want, right? If I rename this to just, I don't know, character health instead, get rid of that one, and I save it. Now, will the UI know to update this binding? I hope the answer is yes, because otherwise that would be pretty annoying, right? So if I look edit binding, okay, that could be an issue. Okay. So that can be kind of annoying. So we might have to change that when something changes. Okay. So that's good to know. Okay. So now if we go to the game, obviously it doesn't change anything now. Does it change on runtime? So let's just play. Now, if I'm correct, I should be able to see this regardless of what I'm looking at. So moving that doesn't actually change the value. It might be because we got a bunch of errors here. Okay, let's just... re-enable that stuff. I don't actually know what the error, what's causing all these. Let's just try this again. Okay, that's better. And so if we go to this thing and I move it around, okay, nothing is changing. Okay, is that maybe because... Okay, so this UI could be in the way now. Okay, let's just pause. But let's switch it on again. Okay, and if I move this around, okay, so that doesn't work. So you can't just have character health. You can select it. That's not the problem. But changing this value doesn't change anything. Unless I'm missing something, right? So there's a possibility I'm missing something. So let's edit this binding and let's see what else we can change here. So advanced settings on source change. That should update this value, right? And this value changes the the fill. Okay. So this seems good, but it doesn't actually change anything here. So these values are not quite as connected as I would like them to be. So it's possible that there is in fact something else I need to do. So I think it might be this last bit of this video where so okay, data source path, that's good, but he also did this. I don't know if this is, so this is getting that, but I just have the value straight in the script, which is probably not great. So that's the data source. Okay, let's see. I think I might understand. Okay, so we need something like root dot q. We need a type. What is this thing called? So the other one I worked with was a button. Would this just be a progress bar? I guess. Right? So something like that. So it's just a progress bar. And then for the progress bar, we need to get a data source. Okay, we then do dot data source, and we set it equal to could this be our data source? Okay, so I'm just thinking. So now this script is the data source. And it has a property or a float, character health variable. So it would look for, in this data source, it'll look for, am I understanding this correctly? So what I'm thinking is, so we've said that it should have a binding. We just didn't, unless I can just do it there. That is also possible. That might be what that is for. Yeah, so if I look at this, so the data source type is the game playing UI, and the path is the character health. And now I actually gave it a reference to the game. Okay, so I think I understand what this is doing. So previously I just told it that the type of data, the data source type would be of type game playing UI. I didn't actually give it one. I didn't connect it. So now I told the progress bar to be connected. Now, this might be a problem. Yeah, I might want to get a specific progress bar like I do over here. And then I want to add, so progress bar with a name. So let's see, inside here we might want to go and change this is the health bar, right? So progress bar with the name health bar. So then in our code, what we want to do here is just give it a name, health bar, so it knows what to look for specifically, right? We might not need to do this. Well, we'll see. We'll see how I go about this. I'm testing things out here. Okay, but now, since it got a reference, we should be able to potentially change it on runtime, and it should sync to that value. Okay, so let's play and see. Hopefully everything saves and does all the thing it needs to do. Oh, I think it's already working. Yep. Okay, that is pretty great. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So what I could do in theory is I could have this whole thing. So if I don't give it a name, it'll just connect this data source to everything. Is that a problem though? Might be a problem, but it also might not be a problem. Now I could also make this connect to other things like the game manager and stuff like that, if I feel like there's a reason to do it like that. Or the player manager, or whatever I need. I could also connect it to new things, I would say, if needed, right? So this doesn't have to be the data source. I could get the data source from anywhere. So how would that look like? So this is a very straightforward one I'm doing right now, right? But I'm trying to build an understanding that'll hopefully help me into the future to set up this stuff properly. Okay, so we don't want the data to live inside of this script necessarily, right? The data is already living somewhere. It's living inside the character data. So if we, for instance, have in here, we might even have a private. So what we could do, we can have character data. We can have a character data here, right? And we can have a function, public void connect the character data. Okay, connect character data, for instance. Right, and what this thing could do is it might get a game object. Right, so we could receive a game object or even the character data. Right. Let's call it new character data. And what we could do then is something pretty straightforward. Actually, yeah, no, we don't even need this. We could just do then root dot. Okay. I see. Okay, so this is now over there. Okay, what we can do as well, actually. So let's think about this. We could have the visual element. So we can make a private visual element root over there. And we can set it over there. Right, and then right here we could do root dot q, And we could do progress bar. Maybe we can connect everything like this. So the name of the progress bar is health bar dot data source equals new character data. So we can connect it like that, and it should update. Okay, so if we did that, right, and we get rid of this nonsense. So let's see. This is going to be interesting. We don't need this either. But technically what we could do now, we don't need the character health. So what we can do is this character data inside of our UI builder, I can now do something like this. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I can now select, go to my health bar, and I could change, so I can edit these bindings, and I can say, look, we're going to go with a character data type, right? Okay, and this one is current health. Right, we want our current health to be that. Okay, and then something like our high value, we want to also go to character and we want okay, this is interesting. Okay, high value default. Okay. So we have this max health. This is not gonna work, eh? We can get it from the character scriptable object. Ah, okay. Am I understanding this correctly? I might be understanding this correctly. So it seems like I cannot change this value. I cannot connect it to a data source because my data is inside a dictionary and it doesn't know how to access the dictionary. Oh, for crying out loud. So if my data was just a variable, yeah, because look, if we open the character data scripts, so if we go to character data, right, we get these, which is like my initialization values, and the current health is being tracked, right? So I do track the current health, and that's fine. So, and that's perfect because I want to track the current health. Yeah, and I'm not getting the property. I'm actually just getting the health, which is fine because that means my UI will just do its thing, no problem. The issue is where my other stats are. My other stats are all locked inside of a dictionary. Oh, for crying out loud. Yeah, so I create this upgrade character data dictionary. Yeah, and then I initialize the dictionary over here, where I just set the stat names and stuff like that. So, you know, somebody warned me about this. Okay, so maybe I can write a function that can get this value for me. Like I can make a workaround. I just don't know if I want to make a workaround. Okay, so let's think about that. Okay, so how would this currently work? So let's say my max health changes, right, or something changes. Normally what I do is I would actually access the dictionary to upgrade my max health, right? And we can see this in the level up UI, where we apply the upgrade. We literally apply the upgrade, so we get, let's see, character data, update character data dictionary, and we get the stat name, and we add the upgrade amount. If it's the max health, we also add the upgrade amount to our current health. Okay, so I obviously want, when I connect, let's say when I run this, right, connect character data. So this might be something that I run when I select a new character, right? So then I might want to update that value. So let's see if I can. So technically, if I do root.qProgressBar, health bar again. Okay, so this is kind of annoying. But let's just do it for now quickly. Okay, what can I access? So could I access, what property or attribute can I access from this thing? So this is an attribute, right? So yeah, okay. Can I access the attributes like this? So if I do high value, maybe. Oh, I can. So I can take their high value and set it equal to something like new character data dot upgrade dictionary, character dictionary, and then I can give it a, I can do that, right? So now my data source is this. So anything that I can get from a data source, like my current health, that'll just work like that, I guess. But there are certain bars and things that I just have to update manually, which kind of shit. So what I might want to do here is just create a progress bar, health bar, and that is just equal to this, right? And then we just do health bar. So we connect the health bar data source, and then we change the high value attribute to be that. Now we could do a couple of other things, like we could do health bar dot, what is the other thing called? Title. And this would be a string, right? So what we'd want here is, you see now, this is also, so we're gonna have to get new character data, and this one will update over time. But we want the current health effectively, right? And then we do plus. We do a / plus. We also want the max health, right? So that thing. Okay, and now this. We could just do string. Actually, don't know. Is this just a string? I guess this is just a string. So you could just do that. Okay, so now it'll do current health over that. But the problem with this is we might want to know, we want to do new character data potentially dot on character data change plus equal, what am I doing? Plus equal, no, plus equal tab. Yeah. So we want to do it that way. Yep. And you see now I want to change my health bar title to this. So I want to actually do this over here. Right. Yeah. Okay, so these two things, that's fine. And now, why do I even have a data source if I'm doing this on an event? So now I don't even want this anymore. I just want, so private health bar, and then I want to do something like that. So on enable, we just get the health bar, but we start off with the health bar. We might not even need root in that case then. So we could just do this. So we don't need to expose root, we just need to expose health bar. Right. So we could work it like this, I guess. And then this we can just change to character data. So we connect character data. Yeah, I mean, am I doing this the best way? Again, probably not. But I'm doing it a way. Okay, and now we can do all kinds of things, because now the current health, we can just do e dot current health, and the max health I'm actually not too sure about. What else do we have? E dot, oh, we do have a max health value. Yeah, so we could just do e dot max health, no problem. Yeah, so now our, and then we can actually just do health bar dot value. We don't even need the character data connected anymore, which is unfortunate, right? I was kind of hoping. Okay, we can set the high value there, that's fine. We don't have to set that every time. There we go, right? I guess. I don't know. And now in my player manager, I think I have the UI stuff. So basically selected character. Okay, so when the selected character we actually do, we have a character data here. But we also have, yeah, on selected character change. So we invoke that. I think we should do this actually right at the end. The reason being is we should first set our characters, right? Where's this character data going? Oh, okay. Just using it there. Then we invoke on selected character change, I think. Because now what I could do is I could just, in my game playing UI, I could just on start, for instance, I could just do player manager dot instance dot on selected character change plus equal. I could just do this thing, right? This is legit. I believe. Guess not. Oh, it's a... Yeah, okay, no. Okay. Yeah, no, it needs... Yeah, no, it needs quite a few things. Okay, but anyway, on... so when the selected character changed, we can just connect character data, and we can give it the player manager dot instance dot get selected character data. Right, something stupid like that. Yeah, and there we go. Now we don't even need to do it this way. We could even do it a different way. So we could do it. There's another way we could do this. I think in Game Manager, we can also do... which one is this? It's the on-wave timer reset function. Right, because that one invokes... right at the start before we even selected a character. So, okay, no, maybe not that one. Alright, but this will work. Right, so now all of the stuff will be plugged in, and then as soon as I select a character, it'll connect to that character and it will change the high value, it'll change, and it will connect to the event to change the other values and keep them updated. Now, I felt like I could have done this better, and that's kind of the point of UI Toolkit, but it seems like I just don't know what I'm doing. So what I can do now is I can just, I'm gonna just get rid of the data binding. Yeah, unset all. Okay, no, Control Z. Let's just unset this one. Okay, we can save. And we can try play the game. So let's see what happens. Yeah, okay, so my UI, it's going to be over top of everything, and I can't click anything, so let's just switch it off. So I select the Robin. It's because it was switched off, isn't it? Ah, jeez. Why? Why I want to select a character? What the hell, man? For crying out loud. Yeah, and I can't... If I switch it off, it won't update. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Okay, let's stop. Okay, so let's try and figure this out. So inside our UI, so for the game playing UI, I think we can, this visual element, we can hide it, right? Somehow. Yeah, display, so we could just makes it hidden. Oh, that's dumb. Why? What? Why when I hide, does it only hide visual elements? Like, I want to hide. Like, I can't change this thing. Right? Can I? Can I make you just go away? No, I just want to do... Okay, so let's try. It's a bit weird. Let's just say... So if I give this thing a name, main container, right? Save that. And inside of my script, so I have private visual element main container. Alright, and then I do main container equals called, and we call it main container. Oh jeez. And can we do main container dot display mode what is this called actually? So in the main container we have display. Do I just USS property? Okay, so this is not an attribute. If I disable this, no, I don't want that. Okay, so how do I access? Okay, so I want to hide a visual element, so how do we hide that? Doesn't seem like hide. Display. Dot USS dot style. Dot display. Dot display equals dot hide dot value. I have no idea what this means. So the value okay, Google, how do we hide? How to hide visual element UI toolkit style.visibility. You can use the style.display property or the style.visibility property by adding or removing CSS class. Okay. So using style to hide visual element dot style dot display equals display style dot none. To show, we do that. Or we can do visibility. Oh. So display equals display dot none. I don't think I did that right. Display style dot none. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Display, so it's display style dot none. Fantastic. Okay, so we do that at the start. And then I would say once we've connected the data, we'll do flex. Right, so that'll re-enable it once the character data is connected. And then, yeah, we obviously want to hide it again, but I'm just going to try this. So let's see how that goes. Will this go the way I want? Yeah, because currently it kind of messes with me. Because I think the container, I'm not allowed to click through it. Which is kind of weird, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, but let's see. Yeah, I should be able to click through it, hey? Okay, so it's not here, but I can go to level prep. I can select the Robin. Why can't I start here? It's like, why does it not allow me to start the game at this point? Like when it's not there, I can do it, no problem. Okay, now it didn't come back either. It also doesn't seem like it actually updated. I could also just run this function. I believe I can, right? New. No, I can't. It doesn't work that way. I'm just testing things, right? So obviously when the character gets connected, that happens once the selected character changes. Okay, but that doesn't work because it overlays the the UI and then I can't click on anything. Which is kind of concerning. I don't know why that is the case. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's because of the way the two UIs are fighting each other now. That's the only thing that could make sense. Because you should still be able to click in the world, I believe. Okay, so we select the duck. We start. Now let's see. As soon as I get damage, it should pop up. Yeah, okay, so it does. And we can see my health is correct, right? Okay, so that kind of works. Now, is it maybe a position hierarchy problem? So if I put this at top, does that allow me now to click on anything? Okay, no. Huh. Okay, but at least that kind of works. I'm not a fan, but I guess it is working. I just need to make it display at the right time. And hide itself again. Okay. I'm gonna go get some more coffee, take a quick restroom break, and I'll be right back. Let me just go over here and give you one of those. Okay, 2 minutes. have returned. Okay. Come on. I didn't accidentally switch on or disable the wrong thing, did I? Doesn't seem like it. That seems okay. Seems like it's working. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's keep going. Alright, so we need a way to better switch on and off all our UI. Okay, and we need to connect all the other things, right? So we got our health, and it is working, right? We just maybe need to format it a little bit. Yeah, so currently it's just getting our current health straight. So this is a string. So if we do toString, can we do... Yeah, so this is a float. Can we... Wait. There should be a better way to do this. I think it's... Okay, so my at the moment, I have my UI set up kind of already to do something like this. Where did I do this? So, if you look at my canvas, it's probably in the gameplay UI, and might be actually the health bar. So let's just see how the health bar works. So I do string.format. Okay, that's exactly actually what I want instead. Yeah, so I can say this is equal to a string.format. Yeah, that's what I want to do, and I literally just want to do something like this. Right. But instead of current health, I do e.current health, actually. And max health, I do just e.max health. Yeah. So yeah, so for any strings, I want to do that because it'll look shit otherwise. Okay, so my... okay, let's just change some of these just to make it look a bit better. So character data on character data change. Okay, so we can look at this and let's go to character data. And so on character data change gives us our health values. Okay, it also gives us our level, our current experience, our experience needed. So we got all of that stuff, and it gives us our spell juice. That is just the spell juice amount, not the max spell juice, eh? Yeah. Where's max spell juice actually? What is max spell juice? I don't think I have a max spell juice, so everybody just has 10 spell juice. Now I might change that in the future. Okay, but that's great. So we could actually just then... in here, we can get all our other bars and stuff. So we can have a health bar. We could have a health bar. Then we can have a spell juice bar. And we can also have a experience bar, and then we can have private. Is it a label? I think so, and this would just be my level. Level label. Right, let's just call it the level label. Okay, so just something like that. And yeah, okay. So let's see. And we just need to set these. So we'll do the spell juice bar. So it'll just be the same thing, right? And then the same with the experience bar. So the experience bar. Okay, so this would just be called spell juice bar. And this one should just be called experience bar. Right, so that's the idea. Let's see if I did that, name them that. And then we can do the label equals root dot q type of label. All right, I think. And then it's just the, not all labels, but just the level label. Right. We could maybe, let's call this the character level label. Okay, character level label. Okay, then we just need to go into this thing and make sure we rename everything to the correct things. Okay, so we have a health bar. So this is going to be our spell juice bar. Okay, then at the bottom here we have a label. This is going to be our character level label. Okay, and then this is going to be our experience bar. Okay, I think that's good. I think that pretty much covers most of it. So now let's go into the code, and I think I named everything correctly. Right, if we didn't, hopefully it gives me a little bit of an error. Okay, but everything's connected. Okay, so when we connect the character data, yeah, I kind of, it doesn't have to show immediately, but it does have to update some of the values. Okay, so let's think about that. So on connection, we want the values to update. Isn't there a way for us to get the on character data change? You know what? We could just, I'm just dumb. We could just do an update. This might also be dumb, now that I think about it. Update. Yeah, so I want to make an update UI function. Then I have one function that I can call when I connect the data and one that I call when I do that. Which means we don't need any of the arguments, which is just something that happens sometimes, I guess. Yeah, because okay, you know what? Let's continue with this first. Okay, so we want so the spell juice bar dot value should be equal to e dot spell juice. Okay, so that's straightforward. We also want the title, right, to be equal to string dot format, I guess, something like that, but it's e dot spell juice in this case, and this is not e dot spell juice. This would be the character data. So this might be the sender dot get. Actually, what is the sender? Isn't this just my character data? Actually, I have no idea. Okay, what we could do maybe is just expose character data up here. So we could have private character data. Right, and then as soon as this happens, we actually make character data equals character data. Now this is probably not going to work, so we might have to change this to new character data, something like that. And then we do this. Okay, and that way now we're using this character data. So we just set the reference, and now we can use character data anywhere. And for spell juice, now we want the character data dot max spell juice, I guess, over there. Right, and it's formatted nicely, so that's not a problem. Okay, then we can change the value as we go. Now the next one would be the experience bar. So the experience bar would also have a title, and it's going to be equal to a very similar thing, string.format, and it's not going to be current health but current experience, and this would be something like XP for level up, right? Okay, and then the experience bar dot value is also equal to current experience. So there we go. Anything else we need here? We need a sip of coffee. So our current level, so if you look at character data, I think we do send the level as well. So we might as well, when we update this, we might as well do character level label dot value. Now this is an interesting one. Character level label. You know what? Maybe we should use the data sources where we can. Okay, let's just go back to my over here. So the character level label. This is a label, right? What else could this be called? I actually don't know. It is just a label. Okay, so my character level label, I want the attribute text. Okay. So dot text. Okay. So this would be string dot format. Okay, so what do we want? We want to have it say character level, like that, plus well, no, actually character level, and then just one of those, and so this would be 0. It's an integer, not necessarily, so let's just make sure we don't have some funny business, so let's just format it correctly. And all we want is e.level to update it there. Okay. There we go. Now we also set this every time, so let's just make sure the showing and hiding of stuff works correctly. Now, okay. So I think game manager. Let's see. On wave time reset. So on start it does that, but when else? What else can we take? So show character, show final wave. Okay. Basically, we want on timer reset. Where else do we do this? Reset wave timer dot invoke if it's a new wave. So it might not be a new wave initially. Okay, let's just make sure about something. So we're selecting the character, that's fine. Now, as soon as... Now we can decide, obviously, how we want to make this work in the future as well. But so we are on the level prep screen, for instance. And then you click the Start Next Level button, right? So the Start Next Level button, currently, this is going to be replaced, but... Okay, what does it do? So it goes toggle unpause, reset wave timer, apply character stats. Okay. Reset wave timer. This is now this one. So it'll just check. Okay. It'll be like, yo. This also is when the text on the screen. So this is technically the correct place, I would say, to do it. I'm just a bit worried that reset wave timer is ran. Oh, no, this is invoked right at the start here. For some reason. Like if I take this out, what breaks? Probably something. But anyway, so we can listen to the game manager. So we're going to try that. So on start we can say game manager dot instance dot on wave timer reset. Okay. So when we do that, we wanna effectively hide. No. We want to show it, right? So this is how we show it. Okay. So we're showing, we're displaying our game playing UI. Okay. And then yeah, I might want to do this in a centralized place because it kind of annoys me to work with. I don't know. I don't like working with events so much. Because my main problem is I don't know who's listening to this event now. So this guy is, but like if I go back to my game manager, right, there's no way to tell who is connected to this event. Like, what will be affected if I remove it? Or, you know, like, if I don't do this. Why did I do this initially? So what is the point? There might be a point. But I don't know what the point would have been. So that's kind of my problem. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so we invoke it there, but everything should have been set by that time. Now, when do we hide it? So that would be when we show the character level up UI. We normally, game playing UI gets hidden. Yeah, so this thing is kind of the one doing all the hiding and showing and stuff like that. So maybe we can connect it to here instead and hide and show stuff from here. Yeah, not set active necessarily, but we can have, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So let's have a private, a public void, show game play UI, right? And then we have another one, and we call it hide. Right, hide gameplay UI. And then when we show gameplay UI, we do that. And when we hide it, we do that. Right, very straightforward. Two very straightforward functions. And now instead of, so on enable, we just do hide gameplay UI, right? We can just run that. We never listen to this event or this thing. Right, and then inside of our game manager, we have game playing UI class. So we instead, okay, this is going to be interesting, but it's fine. So we'll work through this eventually, getting rid of all this stuff. So we want game playing UI, right? And I want to name it game playing UI. Right, and I think I am. So we're going to name it game playing UI. And now obviously a bunch of things will break. So like set active doesn't work. But we could do hide gameplay UI instead. So we hide it over there. And now we can have all the same. So game playing set active true. So nope. This is show game playing UI now. False. This would be hide. Hide. And this would also be hide. There we go. So now the game manager would be responsible to show and hide everything. Now in my game playing UI, so this happens on start already, right? So it makes sure everything is hidden at the start. I could rename this. I should also maybe, so I don't have to do it there now. What I can do is just, just make it show UI and hide UI. Right, this is a function inside of my game playing UI. So yeah, when I call it, it's anyway going to be called let's just see, game manager. Yeah, so the game manager calls it anyway, game playing UI dot hide UI. There we go. That works, right? I think I'm happy with that. So let's actually see if this can now work. So right here, I think I'm doing all this stuff now. Okay, so show UI, hide UI, all this stuff is doing something. Yeah, so now we're showing and hiding it there, and then the data changes. We do all this stuff. Is there anything else? Now there might be another one when we connect the character data. We actually want this thing to fire potentially. So on character data changed, we might actually we might want to come here and listen to... Okay, I'm just looking through this. So what we could do is we could just go game manager dot instance dot on wave timer reset, right? Okay, and we can just tell this thing. Oops. We could, when we do this, we can treat it as if something happened. So we can have the on character data changed fire whenever this fires, and that just means that when we start the wave, it'll also trigger a data change, which should update our UI, which I think is fine, right? That'll work out. Okay, let's try it, right? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay, if we play, so I might have to manually hide some of the stuff because some of the stuff is now disconnected. It won't actually work anymore. Okay, so we go to, yeah, actually. Okay, so this one needs to go away, right? Okay, so why did it not hide it? Oh, wait. If I go to my game manager, I probably... Game playing UI is not even connected. So let's just drag that in there. So now that script is connected. So now it should be working. Yeah. Okay, we need to disable this one, the old one. So go to level, select the ranger, start the level. We have all the rangers stuff. Oh, okay, wait, there's a couple of problems I see. Okay, it seems like my level up doesn't quite work. Okay, wait, I need to change the max value for this thing as well. Yeah, so the max value is still 100, I think. Yeah. Okay. But it's something. I think we're getting there. So let's just switch this off. And let's go back here to our game playing UI script. So, yeah, the high value, right? We need to set the high value. Now, the high value will be changing for my experience bar. So, experience bar dot high value would just be equal to e dot xp for level up. Right? And then... Okay, so that's my current and high value. My spell juice bar high value. So spell juice bar dot high value is just equal to character data dot spell juice max spell juice. Okay, straightforward like that. Okay, so now the spell juice and things should work correctly. Let's save. Now let's see. I saw a little bit of a hiccup with the level up, but I might just be... It seemed like it jumped a couple of levels, but it might be because a few enemies died at the same time. Okay, but let's test this. Okay, it's a lot of learning today, so it's not going very fast, but learning is okay. Okay, go to level prep. Owl wizard. 310. So if I shoot a couple of guys, if I do a little bit of that, so when they die, yeah, get a bunch of level ups. Yeah, so my character level is obviously increasing quite quickly now. Yeah, and we can see that the XP requirement is climbing. Okay, but it's working, right? And let's just see if it goes. If I go to the next level, select the Duck Ninja, everything updates as expected. Now this is curious. Not sure what just happened there. Okay, there was definitely some problems. Did it not connect the new character data? Not sure. Something happened that was weird. I think it didn't update. Okay, so let's see if I select a different character. I just want to see. Yeah, this doesn't update. This also didn't quite update. Okay, so there's a bit of a weird thing happening. Yeah, now it's right. Okay, so it did update eventually. But not when I wanted it to. It's weird because wait, I know why. Or do I know why? Oh, that thing is just jumping between characters somehow. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, that thing was just jumping between characters. So connect character should be called when the selected character is changed. And that doesn't really happen too often, right? That can only happen in the other screen, but somehow this thing still jumped back and forth a little bit. So when that happens, it obviously gets the new character data, it sets all these values, and then this can update. But it was definitely doing something weird. Okay, let's just go to our... See, I'm also still running a million debugs here. Okay, let's get rid of that. Yeah, hopefully I can reuse most of this code. I think I will be able to. It's just a question of connecting it a little bit differently. Okay, let's try... I'm just going to play it again. I want to see what exactly is kind of happening here. And then I might add some debug log statement stuff. So let's see. I don't know what for means, but... Okay, so I think this is all correct. Yeah, so there's obviously no jumping and nonsense happening. You just take some damage as well. Yeah, I mean, that's continuously updating, no problem. Oh, you know what this is. You know what this is. Okay, wait. Is it that? No, wait. Okay. Okay, this is also not right. How exactly is this happening now? Okay, wait. What? What just happened? Okay, go to level prep, ranges, start. Okay, we do our thing. Everything seems good. Okay, obviously we don't have a timer. We don't know how long the time is, but it's okay. We'll add that now. Okay, we get to upgrade. Go to level prep, select the ninja, start. That's updated. Okay. Damn, look how quick they are. Okay, if they hit me, okay, I lose HP, nothing weird's happening. Yeah, I'm just looking at my health bar to make sure nothing weird is happening over there. Okay, let's take some damage. Maybe not die, but just take some damage, right? So I can keep an eye on that number. Okay, let's take the chicken. Okay, so that's a problem. It didn't update that time. Which is weird. I don't know why it wouldn't. Okay, but now it did update, and now it's flickering between. I wonder if that is. .92 out of. So that was the duck's stats. It went back to the duck stats. Okay. So let's see. So the only thing I can think of that does do that, right, is if you look at the gameplay UI, so we connect the character data, which is the currently selected character, right? We would hope. Okay, then we're listening to the character data for changes, right? Now, if a new character gets connected, so we can do debug.log new character data dot character name. Right, so whenever we connect a character, we should get a log saying, look, we connected this character. Now, I don't know if a new character connects, that means these values will be changed, and then they kind of change back immediately. Because the sender, so this thing, I actually don't know if it is this, it might be this. It might still be listening to the other character. So let's say if we hide the UI, could we do character data dot on character? Could we do that? So when we hide the character, when we hide the UI, right? So that means, you know, we don't see this. We disconnect and then we reconnect. When we select a character. Let's try. I mean, this might work. We'll have to see. So it's important that I do take damage, because what I think is happening is I'm obviously regening health, right? And then it sends a signal that my health changed. And then because that signal is still coming through in some way, somehow, I don't know. Because according to me, it shouldn't be connected. It can't be connected to both. But apparently it can be, or it is. I don't know. Who knows? Certainly not me. Okay, but so let's start off. This is interesting. What just happened there? Okay, so we start as the Duck Ninja. Health's not connected. What just happened there? Okay, let's play again. I don't know what happened. Okay, we go to level prep. Chicken Knight, Robin Ranger, Owl, or Duck. We start the level. Oh, what? I don't understand. What the hell? Is it this? Okay, let's take that away. How? How is it that, though? I don't understand this at all. Okay, but now I haven't changed anything here. It's just the debug. Okay, so there's just a log, nothing else. Well, I guess we do hide that in a few places, so maybe that could be a problem. Let's try again. Okay, let's just clear that. Go to level prep. Select the Robin, or the Chicken, or the Duck. Okay, start. Okay, we are now the Duck. Okay, we take damage. We hit this thing. Why was applied character stats called there when I killed that totem? I don't even know actually what apply character stats is, but we'll go look at that now. Okay. So, okay, we can do all this stuff. That's fine. That works. Normally go to level prep. Click on the Owl or the Robin. Or the Knight. Start. Okay. So there's a couple of problems here. So first one I can see is that didn't change, right? I think that's what apply character stats is actually for. This thing, apply character stats, normally... Oh no, this... Okay, yeah, let's just apply the character stats. It doesn't update the UI. Right, but interestingly, what I just noticed is... So, this definitely happened, right? So we got a new character data... technically, which means these values should have been updated and we should have been connected to the new character data. But then on wave timer reset, let's put something here. Let's do a yeah, because clearly this is not right. I have way too little health. It says I'm level 4, so if I just play now, I think if I do something, it'll update. Yeah. So it did update, but now it's kind of flickering between the two. Interestingly, it's flickering, but it's not... Okay, apply character stats changes. Okay, that's fine. So I see the flickering happening, but I don't see anything over here. That's very strange. Yeah, because why would it flicker? It doesn't make any sense. Like, it does not make any sense to me. So first of all, why is this not working? So let's just debug this one. Oh, my word. Debug.log update. Okay, so this is the character data change on timer on, let's say, on start of wave, right? Or level. That is what this is. But it doesn't happen, right? We did connect to it, and that's fine. But it's not happening. And what we can also do is we can do plus character name. No, we can just add the character name. So we know which character is actually doing this. Yeah, because this should at least get us to change or update the values, because on character data changed is called, and we know our gameplay UI is listening to that and getting all the data, changing the titles for these strings. So this is where this would be happening. So maybe we do debug.log over there. So we can do e.character name. We can do let's do update gameplay UI plus the character name, so we can see when this is called, and then who is calling this. I don't know. Could we do plus sender? I don't know what the sender is. It's an object, so but maybe we can know who's the send. No, it would be the character data change. Yeah, no, that doesn't help. We'll know this already. We don't know what triggered it though. Yeah. Okay. So save. Let's go debug some more. Maybe some of these warnings can give me a clue, but I'm ignoring them. So, that is my problem, I guess. Okay, let's go. So, okay. So we select whichever one we want. So let's select the Ranger. We click Start. We click Pause. And we read. Okay, so that's where we click. Okay. Apply character stats. Character data change on start of level. Chicken Night, Owl. Update gameplay. Oh, wow. Very interesting. So why? So the robin, the duck, and the wizard, because I selected all of them, try to update the gameplay UI because they were all connected to the gameplay UI. Oh, okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so every time I click on a character, it obviously runs this code and it connects all of them. So now every single one of those character datas are connected and they stay connected. Very, very interesting. So technically what we should do is we should first remove a connection of the old character data. Then we change it to the new one, and then we connect it again. Now, this might work potentially if it existed. Not sure if it will. It might give me a problem because I believe it might try to remove one that isn't connected, and then it might give me an error. I don't know how that works. It's one of those things we have to kind of check for null or something. But yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I connected them, and they stayed connected. It doesn't lose the connection. It keeps it. You can have multiple, because it's the same event and it's fired just from different places. Yeah, okay, look at that. So we got our null reference exception error now every time. And guaranteed this is... yeah, so... Okay. As I thought... Yeah, man, I don't like events. Oh, my word. Yeah, okay, so there's now a bunch of events connected to the thing. Now what I can do is I can do an if statement and check if the incoming event is in fact one we are interested in. How the hell did I handle this previously? So let's see. I mean, because this is it's not high rocket science, but it's weird. So let's see on the previous health bar. Okay. So this is called, right, and it's called from where? Crocodile boss enemy player manager. Okay, interesting. So the player manager was updating the health bar. So it got get selected character data. So every time this was called, every single time, when what happens? On character data change, I check whether it is in fact my greatness. So I was doing it that way. So I would check if the character name is equal to the selected character, and only then would I update the UI. Fantastic. Yeah, so I just connected all of them. Right? Because this is connected to add characters to player manager, so I just connected them all. So we have this connection throughout everything, and then it checks whether or not... That is incredible. That is quite incredible. Yeah, so I can't disconnect them if they're not already connected. That doesn't work. Okay, so connecting and disconnecting is not quite the thing to do. Or I'm just dumb, and it's entirely possible. I thought this could work if I just disconnect them whenever I hide the UI, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Is there any other way I could do this cleverly? Or is there no point in trying to do it the clever way? Yeah, because I could just straight up, I could just straight up call this function from my player manager, and have it update everything. So my player manager could just come here, update player gameplay UI, right, and that could, look, it gets the character data. It checks that it's not null, and then it does all of that stuff. Which is pretty much what I'm trying to have it do anyway. Okay, so let's gameplay UI, let's refactor. Let's change this a little bit. And then okay, so let's make a public void update public void update game laying UI. Right, and what we need is a character data. Right? So we need that stuff. Okay, and this is what we do. We just do all this stuff. So we do this. Pretty much, essentially, and we do this, pretty much, essentially. Okay, we don't need that. We have our character data. Okay, and we don't need character data over here anymore. That doesn't make any sense. We'll just have it. Okay, and effectively, we don't need any of this stuff. Delete it all. Okay, so we just have one public function that gets called by our player manager when we need to update this. Now, we get our character data, and effectively what we want to do now is, instead of doing that, we just want to do character data dot current health. And now this one's going to be a bit different. So we kind of want it to work like this now instead. So we get our max health like that. And our max spell juice would work the same, and our character data dot spell juice would work the same. Current experience, XP for level up. So all of this stuff is exactly the same. We're just taking it from our character data instead. Yeah. So we could just take this, put it over there. Yeah. So now we do our health, our spell juice, our experience, and then our character level text. And all we have to do is just send through a character data when we call this. And Bob's your uncle. We might not even have to do that, but we can. You just give it the character data to update all the stuff with. Okay, now, inside of our player manager, we need to get the gameplay UI. So, let's see. We'll do serialized field. This is not going to work like that. It's going to be a type of game playing UI. And then when we do, let's see, update player gameplay UI is not a thing. Yeah, so we are connected to the character data over here. So what we do over here is game playing UI dot update game playing UI, and what we give it is we just get the selected character, right? Get selected character data. Yeah, we just pass that in. So that would return our selected character data. Problem sorted. Right, so now obviously this function should now become pointless. Toggle unpause. No, so we don't do that. Instead, let's just not do that. Okay, I think that's it. I think it'll just work now, actually. Yeah, so now it's updated like it was updated previously. It's kind of weird how, like, after connecting everything, it just kind of works the same way. But now at least I have all of this in one nice script to update the values, which I kind of like more. I didn't like the way I was updating it in the player manager. Like this. That's just bad, I think. Yeah, so this script over here is pointless now. Okay. So we save, we go small. And this should work perfectly. Because it's only going to call it if the event was fired by the selected player. Or the selected character, that is. Okay, so we go to level prep, select the robber, or whoever we want. Oh, I didn't plug it in. Damn it. Okay, so in the player, we obviously now have this game playing UI thing. Oopsie. This needs to go in there. Now when we play, it'll have a reference, so it should work. Okay, so they all had a change of some sort. There we go. Okay, so let's just apply some random stats. Go to the next level, select the wizard, for instance. Immediately, it looks like I've selected the wizard. Okay, fantastic. So now it just kind of works. Yeah. Okie dokie. Okay, so everything works nicely. I'm happy with that. Now, obviously, it doesn't look good, but it's there. It's functional, so we can change everything to look nice later on. But at least it's there and it's working, which I'm kind of happy for. And we get the level text. We get all that stuff. I don't know if it's efficient. I don't know if I'm using UI Toolkit correctly. It is entirely possible that I'm using it in a very... it's my alarm. I need to go. It's entirely possible that I'm using it in a very unintended or ineffective manner. It's possible. Right, maybe I should be connecting data sources. That does seem like a powerful thing to do. But yeah, for now, I mean, this just works, right? It is easy to plug into my existing code. Just make a script like this, and it just kind of does the thing it needs to do, right? We can also now connect things like a timer and stuff like that, and it should all be fairly straightforward to get working. So I'm happy with what I'm doing, with how it's going. At least I'm using the new system, and hopefully the fact that, or the way it's built, will allow me to more easily incorporate or to more easily build new systems with the UI. But we'll see how that goes, right? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Same UI stuff. I know it's not the most exciting thing to do, but UI needs to get done. So, cheers. Cheerio. Let me just do this. There we go. Cheers, guys.